Hey, what's up, Libra? Welcome to another Timeless General Tarot reading. All of the typical disclaimers are assumed. All of the non-typical disclaimers are asserted. I am not responsible for you misusing the truth imparted by this message if it is not meant for you. Make sure to check the timestamps below to skip to relevant parts of the reading. In particular, if you check the conclusion section, you will have a more concise overall explanation of which energy emerged after all of the cards dropped, if you do not wish to run through the entire read. While you're in the description section, whoops, and look at that. Almost like I shouldn't ask you to go down to the description section and support me. I guess that's too much to ask for. So I'll leave it at that then, since the cards did not want to connect. Let's see here. I think that's everything. I'm trying to think of anything else. Watch out for scammers. I've been getting pinged pretty hard on Facebook by scammers, so be very careful about people impersonating me. It's very real, and the only time I'll ever interact with you, it will be very legitimate. So do not fall for anything like that. I'm not responsible for that either. Alright, so what we've got here to start Libra is the Fool in reverse. You may be very disappointed that you have to start a new journey, some kind of new journey. You're kind of dragging your feet. You are perhaps the main thing is you're just not anticipating this change. Whatever this change is, you're not looking at it, you're not facing it with enthusiasm, you're not excited about this. I'm not sure exactly what that is. And what I'm seeing here is, what followed that up was the Hierophant, which is a sign of conservative, more conservative, but more traditional, what's the word I'm looking for? More conventional. It's a sign of more conventional elements that could serve you. But it looks like you're in resistance to that, which is very interesting, because in the last read I had the Hierophant in reverse for the reader, and that was a sign that, or excuse me, for the viewer, and that was a sign that the individual was like resisting a sort of dogma that wasn't serving them. But in this instance, it's kind of the opposite. You are resisting a sort of dogma or a sort of conventionalism that would serve you. So I'm curious to see what kind of clarity there is for that, because it is showing that you're in resistance about whatever this is. So let's see here. Great Goddess, can you expand the Fool in reverse? The Fool in reverse, please. Clear sign for the Fool in reverse. Very strange having the Fool reverse as your root energy. So since this is a Libra reading, it wouldn't surprise me if there was some balance that emerges in your read. So if this is like the High Priestess, that'd be pretty cute. It's not. It's Nine of Swords. Yeah, you're definitely not too excited about this. It's definitely taking you out of your element. You are finding yourself in sort of mental travesty about this, and I can kind of sympathize. This is like this is kind of reminding me of when I was really resistant on going to Bible school when I was younger. You know, it was very disappointing and annoying that I had to go, but maybe it's not exactly Bible school for you, but the sign here is to try and open up to how this can serve you better. Which, I don't know what the heck it is exactly, but that's sort of the call here. Try not to resist this so much. So let's see if we can get some more clarifiers for you. So, let me see here. Can we clarify the Fool Goddess, please, in reverse? Clarity for the Fool in reverse, please. Any clear signs for the Fool in reverse, Great Goddess? To cinch off this reverse Fool card for Libra. Any clear signs, Great Goddess? Okay, so this one to come out might be the Hangman or the Emperor card. It is the Emperor card. It's in the reverse as well. Which, I know my Emperor card is getting a little bent, so I would hate for it to be hanging up. Hanging up on that fact alone and not actually being a clarifier. It doesn't look that bad, though. So what we have is the Emperor in reverse here. Yeah, you're super resistant to this. Super resistant. You might have like a problem with authority. You might be very authority resistant, which I can sympathize with that also. It's just too bad because the Hierophant is in the upright here. So whatever this is, it seems like it would do you good. That's what the Spirit is suggesting. But with the Fool reverse clarified with the Emperor reverse, wow, that's like... Definitely failing to adhere to some authority, which is very strange because I feel like I can identify with that big time. I can definitely sympathize with being resistant to authority that doesn't serve me, that demands I serve it to no benefit to myself. It doesn't seem like a very fair balance, but I'm trying to see how this Emperor card, what else I could say about this Emperor card. Not quite sure here, so let's see. Great Goddess, could we expand upon the Hierophant, please? Okay, so this one to come out for that. The Hangman in reverse, wow. That's another... So what I'm getting from this is that's kind of a spiteful energy. You are finding ridiculous ways to resist this. And one of those ways is by lying about why you can't do certain things. And you're using the excuse of working on yourself, so to speak, as the reason. But that is an excuse, according to this Hangman. You are not, in fact, being authentic about why you are taking that action. And that can be a very toxic form of resistance. So, a little disappointing. You're extremely resistant to this. So I'm going to try and clarify, what is this Hierophant, Great Goddess? Because the resistance, that's what all the resistance is about here. So this was clear, this was trying to come out, and we have the Knight of Swords in reverse. That is another sign of acting out about this. Being very reckless in what you say, being very reckless in your action. It's a very spiteful energy. Very spiteful. Great Goddess, can we clarify the Hanged Man, please? Dang, the Six of Swords in reverse. Yep, you are stuck. You are failing to move on. You're failing to move forward here. A lot of energy about you failing to move forward, and to pull that off, you're also being very spiteful. So it wouldn't surprise me if, like, the behavior of this individual is very... It reminds me of when I was very young. Like preteen even. Very young individual. So I don't know, maybe you aren't, because I haven't seen Libra energy here. There's some sword energy, but there isn't a, this could be a Libra energy. But this individual is actually of this age. Acting like this is disappointing, to say the least. It's definitely not very Emperor-esque. So yeah, it's like, the resistance on this is not being proven very righteous, is what all this energy is suggesting. All 5 of the surrounding cards for the Hierophant are very full of resistance. And it doesn't even look like you're enjoying the resistance. It looks like it's creating a bunch of anxiety in you. So that's kind of disappointing. It's probably the last thing you want to hear too, so I'm surprised that the person who would be watching this would actually be here. So I'm curious to see what else we can get. Because right now, all I'm seeing is that Spirit... All I'm getting here is that you're very resistful and possibly spitefully. to whatever this change is. Maybe it's like enforced marriage or something. You know, that would be understandable if you don't feel like doing that. Another thing that's kind of on topic right now is that the Hierophant is conventionalism, traditional wisdom, and something going on in my country right now, the United States, is that the Supreme Court, they disbanded Roe v. Wade, which means that a lot more states banned abortion. So one thing this could be speaking to is that you are being forced to carry a baby, and you're very spiteful about that. That's another example of this conventionalism, which, once again, in the upright, that is suggesting that that would serve you better than you might be seeing if that's the case, if something like that is the case. But all of your surrounding energy is very resistible. And we even have the masculine energy here in reverse, so maybe like the father figure isn't even in the picture. That could attribute to the entire thing. But I'm a little bit of speculation on that one. I'm trying to kind of put forth ideas to symbolize the energy of the Hierophant in the upright, surrounded by all this negative energy. There's definitely some kind of conventionalism that you are not happy with. You're very resistant. I'm not seeing any signs here that you're in a righteous position either. So let me see here. Can we expand the Great Goddess? Can we expand the Hanged Man in reverse, please? Great Goddess, can we please expand the Hanged Man in reverse? Seven of Pentacles kind of wanted to come out there. Great Goddess, Hanged Man in reverse. Okay, so this wants to come out. Hanged Man in reverse clarified by the Page of Wands. Fire energy. Kind of a snitty energy in this context. It can be a younger individual. The energy here is about action. It is about this page energy is comfortable taking action for action's sake. They're comfortable with acting out how they feel, which is similar to what's going on here. They are it's in the upright energy, so it's not necessarily suggesting they're toxic. It's actually endearing the way they take action. What's interesting though in this reading though is this Page of Wands is looking away from all of this negative energy. So like this individual is like very disinterested in how you're acting. So I'm not sure, maybe it's a sibling, because the Page of Wands also tends to represent somebody who's the time frame is typically like younger than 20. It's like teen and preteen. So if you're young enough to be like acting like this, then you could have a teen sibling like this, preteen sibling like this. So I'm not sure how old you are, honestly. Cat's coming over here, so she might interrupt this. And they seem a little bit disappointed in you because they're not preoccupied with how you're acting. Or they're not preoccupied with this energy at all. This resistance. So let me see if I can clarify that even further. Okay, Goddess, can we please clarify the the Page of Wands here? And something that wanted to come out was the Sun. Yeah, so I don't know who this individual is in your life, fire sign, sibling, but they are seeing the light when you are not, is the bottom line here. They are not as, they're basically just disappointed in you. They're disappointed in this energy. They like action. They like to take action. So when they see the dragging feet of the Fool and the lackadaisical use of the Hanged Man energy, the spiteful use of Knight of Swords action, not moving forward, that can miff them because they prefer solid action. And they're seeing something that you are not, basically. They very well could see the wisdom in this Hierophant. Hierophant conventionalism. So yeah, definitely very interesting. that they're emerging like that. So I'm not sure who that is for you. It's one of those things where I have to speculate from this side. It doesn't have to be a boy or a girl. For the Page of Wands, it can be either. The idea is, though, is that it's typically younger. They're much younger than the other suits. Younger than this Knight of Swords, even. So yeah, this energy is like... Spirit is more at their back than they are at the back of this energy here. Bottom line. Especially if you're not listening to faith at all. If you're like purely a secularist, materialist, atheist. Like if you're going through an atheistic phase and you're not adhering to spirit at all, then you're missing something. And that's why the universe would be suggesting that your part to play in this is not exactly very valorous, because you are denying an utter truth of higher power. Even though you might be trying to deny it on certain logical facts, like the Bible is not literally correct, which is true. A lot of it is speculatory in nature. And I actually went through this phase. When I was younger, I was pretty hard into Christianity. But then like at some point I kind of started to challenge that in my own mind, and I turned away from that and I turned to atheism. And that was when I was like 11 or 12 or whatever, which is kind of in the range you're looking at here for age. However, once I got up to like 25, 26, I kind of turned more towards faith. Not towards Christianity, not towards belief in God, but belief in a higher power. Belief in faith in things that will always and forever have an infinitely higher capacity than me. That are not necessarily of this world, but can have their power put upon it, and can have an effect on the world because they are so powerful. And when they do that, they're so powerful that they can even have that effect on the world, and there's no evidence of it. And that's part of what faith is. Because that higher power can't be seen. If it was, then everybody would just expect the higher power to do everything for us with its infinite power. And that's not why we're here. We are here to act in our own capacity. And maybe this Page of Wands as a fire sign action takers can see that differently than you can. So nowadays I'm not like a Christian. I've read the like half of the Old Testament, so I've opened up to that stuff and I've read into it, and there is some interesting parts about it. But by no means am I dogmatic about it. But I'm also not a puerile atheist anymore. I have a balance of sort of material and spiritual quality. And you might just be going through that phase where you are heavily resistant to the dogma of conventionalism, but it seems in this instance like you're throwing out the baby with the bathwater, and you aren't listening to a way that faith can serve you. So, very interesting. Once again, it's really striking me that you're younger. These are things I remember going through when I was much younger. Like preteen level. Preteen, and then kind of matured through it out in teens and young, like early 20s. I kind of grew out of it. And then definitely like mid to late 20s into my 30s now, I've definitely balanced out a very powerful faith in higher power. And that's where my faith in the tarot comes from. Higher power is who delivers these messages. I just interpret them. But the cards are given to me by higher power. I don't pick the cards myself. I pull out the cards that are given. Or I take the cards that are given. And I can do that because I have faith in that higher power, because I believe in it. I believe in it wholly and utterly. I'm not just faking that belief. So very interesting here. Very, very interesting. So let's continue this. We're at about 20 minutes. That's not too bad for how many cards we're ripping out here. Alright, so let's continue along your journey here. Great Goddess, will you please... Can you please expand the Nine of Swords for our fellow Libra? If you would, please. Great Goddess, can you... Okay, so it's 2 cards. Just looking for 1 card, please. One card to expand the Nine of Swords, please. One card to expand the Nine of Swords. Alright, how about a clarifier for the Nine of Swords? One solid clarifier, please, for the Nine of Swords. It doesn't look like I'm getting anything here. So you might have heard the point you need to. Maybe the experience I imparted upon you got through to you. Because here, let me do a shuffle as well. It doesn't seem to want to clarify any further. It may just reiterate the same energy. Ah, crap, I freaking locked the split up again. You got the High Priestess here. The Hermit. So, interesting. The High Priestess kind of wanted to come out, which matches the Hierophant, which is interesting because in the last reading, the Hierophant and the High Priestess are in reverse, but you have the Hierophant here, and you might have had the High Priestess. So, like, kind of a polar opposite of the last read, which was about the dogma not serving you. This is about maybe taking a little bit more faith. And it sucks when, like, I can kind of feel where you're coming from. If you feel like you're being controlled by this situation, that's no fun. But if you act out spitefully like this, it really makes those people want to, like, put you into that more because they think that you need it or something. They think it's, like, good for shaping who you are. But that's also part of, like, why you're so resistant. So it's, like, sometimes I don't understand why people can't see that. And especially if you have this, like, sibling Page of Wands who can kind of see through this, then there's, like, a whole nother exemplar for your behavior being a little more dicey. And that also makes it difficult, so. A little disappointing, I have to admit to you. A little disappointing. So I'm going to continue here. Great Goddess, can we please expand the Nine of Swords for Libra? Nine of Swords expansion for Libra, please. Yeah, I'm not getting much here. Alright, how about a Nine of Swords clarifier then for Libra? Dang, okay. I'll give it one more round and then I'm actually going to call this reading because it is striking me as clear enough. So let me give this one more shot. Great Goddess, do you have any expansions for Nine of Swords for Libra? Any single clear expansion for Nine of Swords, please. Okay, so this is what I need to clarify. So, expand. So for expanding Nine of Swords, we've got the Knight of Cups in reverse. Kind of a sign that you are... It's continuing to match this energy of you taking out how you feel on other people, sort of. It's about toxic energy. It's about, to a certain extent, this Knight of Cups is susceptible to being led around by how they feel. They can be, like, easily misled based on their feelings. It's definitely a sign of your judgment isn't very clear about this. So it's just more matching energy to the fact that you are in resistance. That you're in resistance about having to do this. Having to do whatever this is. But you're definitely proving obstinate with this Knight of Cups looking away from this whole thing. So it's like you're kind of dug in on how you're acting, so to speak. Very strange. So let me see here. Great Goddess, can we clarify the Nine of Swords, please? Can I get a solid clarifier for the Nine of Swords? Okay, how about an expansion? Oh, so that's 3 cards. How about expanding the Knight of Cups in reverse? Clear sign for expansion of the Knight of Cups in reverse, please. Or the Knight of Cups, excuse me. Not much. Very stuck energy, to be honest with you. How about clarifier for the Knight of Cups in reverse? Anything to clarify Knight of Cups in reverse? Any clear... Oh, High Priestess trying to flip out again for you. Once again, that's a sign that you would be better served by doing this than you realize. Even if you don't feel like it. It is hard to imagine that somebody as young as I am, as seeing in this energy, is literally you, though. Maybe you are a very young tarot watcher, maybe. You could be watching this about somebody else, though. If you or yourself are a younger fire sign. Maybe a concerned older sibling. You might be watching this about somebody else. They could perhaps be a water sign. It could also be this air sign. But I'm not sure about that. Since now we've got these extra energies all over the place, so. Yeah, I'm a little stuck here. The cards really don't want to take this any further. It's pretty straightforward. I'll give it one more round again. So, Great Goddess, can we clarify the Nine of Swords? Can we get a clear signifier for the Nine of Swords? Alright, how about a clarifier for the Knight of Cups in reverse? Okay, so how about expansion on the Knight of Cups? This will be my last go. If we don't get an expansion here, I will conclude this reading. So, expansion on Knight of Cups in reverse, Great Goddess. Three, 2, 1. All right. Alright, Libra, so definitely an interesting reading. Your energy did not come out here. You did not get the Justice card. You got a Knight of Swords in reverse, which could signify you. Not great, though. The root energy of this reading is the Fool in reverse. You are resistant to some kind of change. You are resistant to some kind of path forward that you should have enthusiasm for. And you have found yourself in heavy resistance to whatever that is. It's giving you internal anxiety. Your mentalism isn't serving you properly. You aren't necessarily embracing your masculine stabilization. And whatever this is about, it seems to be about some kind of conventionalism. Maybe you are being forced down a route you don't want to take. I'm not sure exactly what that is. It could be religious in nature. It could be just more to do with authority making you do things, which is kind of what this is signifying, that you're having an issue with authority. And the energy is, what the energy is suggesting here is that you are very resistant to this change. You are almost spitefully resistant. You might be acting out, you might be lashing out. You are not willing to see the way forward. You're not willing to see how this could actually help you out to some degree. So from my own personal perspective, I don't want you to surrender yourself to this, but try to look for the grain of salt in it that could actually serve your existence, that could actually contribute to your quality of life. I gave an example earlier in the reading about me going from being like a Christian to an atheist, and now I'm kind of like in the middle with faith. Like I have belief in faith, but I'm not subscribed to the dogma of Christianity. You might be in a similar position where you're feeling yourself in atheism, and some people around you might be trying to push you into a more conservative bent, so to speak. And for that, you are definitely finding yourself in a very spiteful energy, lashing out. It's messing with your internal world, and it's deterring your ability to be pleasant and to take up a better conscience. And you are making excuses to avoid this situation. So there might even be an element of you like fibbing to people, lying to people in order to get out of this. But the problem is that's contributing to you being stuck even further. These are very stuck energies. And it seems to be revolving around this authority figure issue. So I don't know, maybe you're having issues with like your father figure or something. Either that or it just has to do with authority in general. So I don't exactly know. That's something that you're going to have to delineate for yourself. But it looks like you are acting out here at this traditionalism. And the problem is, though, is that it doesn't look like your acting out is in good conscience. So, like, the energy you're finding, you think that maybe you think you're protecting yourself or something, but, like, a lot of the energy here is not suggesting that. A lot of the energy here is suggesting that you're being a little bit ridiculous about how much resistance you have to this. And it's not just that you're resisting this, but the state of being that you're, like, the momentum of your action that you're building up to resist this is actually, like, it's messing up other parts of your world. And it is deterring your overall experience. And there's even a smidge of a sign here that if you're young enough, you don't understand how faith works. And if that's the case, then this is kind of suggesting to you that there is something to faith. There is, like I said, like sort of a nugget of gold within, the sea of sand or whatever. And if you could grab that little bit, you could throw the rest away if you really wanted to, but hold on to that piece and try to understand where these other people are coming from. Because there's even a sign here that maybe like a sibling of yours, because this is also representing a younger individual, and this behavior is signifying that perhaps your energy is also a younger individual. So I don't know how young you are. I don't know if maybe you're the sibling and you're concerned about somebody younger than you, but what is being signified here is that individual has a different capacity to take action, and they embrace their path forward. And they may see you acting like this and be very disappointed in you. And part of why that is if they've got their ship righted like this, then their action is going to be serving them differently than yours. Your resistant action is going to be making your life more difficult. Whereas they aren't doing that. They aren't showing that resistant energy. And this Page of Wands is even like looking away, like they aren't interested in, they're very uninterested in how you're acting. And they're being blessed by the sun energy. So they are very blessed by primal force, and that's typically in the form of action. And you are in an extreme state of disaction, of not taking action. So they're a little miffed with you, whomever this is. Maybe this is you looking at somebody. Maybe it's somebody looking at you. I can't really say, that's something that you would have to decide, but once again, no Libra energy came out, so the only thing signifying Libra would be this Knight of Swords reversed, and that's who's resisting this Hierophant, which is also the Fool energy in reverse. And they're also resistant about this masculine authority figure. Could be a father, grandfather. So maybe like it's a family tradition to do this traditionalism, but you are very resistant to it. The problem is that you have other people in your energy who aren't as resistant, and they're managing to find that nugget of gold in this conventionalism. And if they have the sun at their back, they're just going to have a better quality of life than somebody who is this resistant. So, all I can really suggest here is hopefully I recommend maybe going back a little bit in the reading, because I gave a story about how I used to be a Christian, then went to an atheist, then kind of now I'm like, I still have faith even though I'm not dogmatic, and how that is an integral part of being alive. So besides for that, the only thing I can really suggest here to turn the energy around is, I'm not saying don't stand up for yourself and what you believe in. Doing that is not so bad, but you've got to try and find a better quality of how you approach that. Because the Hangman reverse and the Knight of Swords reverse, that's like very disingenuous resistance. You're being like toxic to get out of this. You're not actually standing on solid ground to take this fight that you're having. And all of the surrounding energy is suggesting the same thing. And it's even suggesting that there's other people that are a little disappointed in you for acting like this. So find a way to stand your ground on a little more merit. Don't just be like very toxic. Don't try not to be so hateful. Be honest with your words. Be honest with how you feel. But this very like disingenuous behavior isn't going to help you. And the reason it's not going to help you is because you're turning away from faith. And it doesn't mean that you have to like love God if you don't believe that God is real. It doesn't mean you have to like love Jesus if you don't think Jesus is real. You don't have to prescribe to any of that dogma that you don't believe in. The only part you have to really accept here is that there are forms of higher power that exceed any human capacity. And they will be here long before and after us. And if you cannot get on board with how much power they have, you can't take faith in them. And when you don't take faith in them, they can't help you in your life with how complicated life is. So if you're like a puerile atheist, I would urge you to consider the wisdom in those words that I just said. Because puerile atheism is very secular, and it definitely can yield you down even though you think being an atheist is about following what is true, it is only half true. And it's fine enough to seek the truth. But you can't know all the truth because you aren't higher power. Higher power will always know more than you. So you've got to kind of get on board with that idea, at least just get on board with that idea that there are obviously greater things in this universe than just humans on planet Earth. Things vastly more powerful. And the only way that they're entrusted with our well-being is because they're willing to do what's good for us, which is really hard to believe in life because the world seems so bad often enough. But if you can believe in faith properly, and if you can have faith in that higher power, it's more willing to come to your aid. And it's not going to literally do your work for you. It's not going to like take your action for you, but it can support you indirectly in ways that are miraculous at times. So that's kind of why I'm pinging on the idea that you're maybe much younger, because this is stuff that I was dealing with when I was younger. It's pretty young for you to be watching a tarot reading, so maybe you're not. Maybe you're older, and you've just never heard this kind of thing. One way or the other. That's really what I'm seeing here. It's about understanding faith differently. You can't just be a dogmatic Christian. They don't know all the facts. We also can't just be a puerile atheist, because that's tossing out the fact of faith and the fact of higher power. So you've got to kind of find that blend. And if you can find that blend, then you're going to be able to embrace your life much better. So that's all I've got for you, Libra. or Libra cross-watcher who's interested in the Libra, which might be the case here. So do what you will with this, and if you're watching tarot, you're already half a step towards higher power, because like I was explaining, the source of the tarot is higher power. That's who's delivering these messages. The higher power is who understands who will be watching this, and that's who delivers the message necessary for that individual. That can't be done without a higher power that has the capacity to actually see through time and understand how to set all that up and knows exactly which cards to place out here for whom in bringing that individual to the reading to watch it and learn that. That's all organized by higher power. So the fact that you're already here watching this means that you kind of get that. You already have that faith in your heart and soul. Maybe you haven't made it conscious yet. So you've already got potential if you're here watching this. Unless you're a cross-watcher, then maybe it's something that could get you. Maybe you'll have a better way of getting through to this individual after watching this, one way or the other. So, all right, Libra, not so bad for reading. Thank you. It did get up to 41 minutes after I rambled. So, thank you for being here. Good luck and take care.